Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And we're here in what will be an exciting night for a lot of New York Knicks fans. Not eight. I wish we had 8 wins. A 4-18 team win. A 4-18 win team actually has an exciting night because interim head coach Mike Miller is going to debut tonight. And excuse me, I just got off the road, literally. I literally just came home from an hour-and-a-half drive. But Knicks interim head coach Mike Miller is going to debut tonight. And we're going to learn a little bit about Mike Miller and then talk about some expectations before we get to the game. So let's go ahead and get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rock.
That's the thing.
And Knicks fans, no matter how much or what you heard or what your feelings are about Coach David Fizdale no longer being the coach of the New York Knicks, it's a done deal. You can't go back. Mike Miller is the interim head coach. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about, what kind of changes will Mike Miller bring to the table. I don't think anyone is expecting miracles from Mike Miller, but I'm sure there's going to be some expectations from now until the end of the season if he lasts that long. If it were me, I would keep Mike Miller on until the end of the season. I don't see what, maybe you could tell me, maybe you think we're going to get something by bringing somebody in now. You're going to give him a shake, give him a shake. You know what I'm saying? Give him a shake. Give him his fair due. See what he has. I mean, you almost got an entire season. See what he can do. Now, he doesn't have a training camp, of course. So that changes things. But, hey, get a guy a shake and see what happens and then make moves at the end of the season. That's what I think should be done. That's what I think should be done. But anyway, Coach David Fizdale, as you all already know, was fired. I kind of know for a fact it wasn't really yesterday. It was the previous night. You seen the video go around of Coach David Fizdale shaking everybody's hand during practice, and it was made to seem as though they let Coach Fizdale go through a practice and then shake everybody's hand and then do a post-game interview, post-practice interview and all that kind of stuff, and then fired him, kind of like it's an embarrassing thing. That's actually kind of false, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually kind of false. From what I understand, and you can take it or leave it, it's kind of like this. Coach Fizdale knew he was fired, and he wanted to have a last practice so that he can talk to the guys. Makes sense. Then he had a last interview, media interview and all that stuff. And when you seen him shaking hands, that was his goodbye daps to everybody. Right? Kind of how it went down from what I understand. Don't feel too bad for Coach Fizz. He's got millions of dollars. He had a guaranteed contract. He's going to get paid. Him and his wife, they can go lay on the beach and relax before the weather gets too cold here in New York. What are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? But anyway, that's how it goes down. And there's going to be plenty of time for speculation as to who should be the head coach and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not really going to get into that tonight. I really want to focus on Coach Miller right now. I had to think about what I was saying so I can get that out right. Make sure I was saying the right thing. I want to focus on Coach Miller and what Coach Miller might bring to the table for the Knicks. Okay, so let's take a quick look. And I got my man Viv in the chat. He'll be able to talk to us a little bit. Let's take a quick look at Coach Mike Miller and see what he brings to the table. Okay, so let's get this thing on the road. Coach Mike Miller is born August 14th, 1964. He's 55 years of age. He hails from Monmouth, Illinois. He led the Westchester Knicks, the G League affiliate team for the New York Knicks, to a 108-92 record over 4 years. He was a 2017-2018 G League Coach of the Year. All right, he started coaching the Knicks and the Westchester Knicks in 2015. So from 2015 to 2019, he was the head coach of the Westchester Knicks. 2013 to 2015, he was assistant coach for the Austin Spurs, which is the G League affiliate for the San Antonio Spurs. Before then, 2012, 2013, he was an assistant at UC Riverside. From 2005 to 2012, he was the head coach at Eastern Illinois University. And from 1996 to 1999, he was the head coach at Texas State, and he led Texas State to 2 conference titles. Now, he was brought in to the Westchester Knicks, like I said, about 4 years ago. And get this, he was brought in under Coach Phil Jackson's regime. And why was he brought in under Coach Phil Jackson's regime? He was brought in because he had some knowledge of the triangle and system basketball. Right? So he was referred to coach to Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson gave the referral or the recommendation on to Allen Houston, and Allen Houston hired him as a guy that can help develop players for the triangle. Okay? So, from what we understand about Mike Miller, he is a guy that understands how to run systems, and he runs systems. Now, do I expect to see that right away? No, I do not. It'd be almost impossible for you to see any of that tonight. Maybe you see some things here and there. Who knows how much time he had to spend with the team. And maybe when Coach Fizdale ran practice yesterday, it was an excellent time, a good time for them to hand over that intern head coach or the head coach role, the head coaching role to Mike Miller. Right? Of course, with the media, you're going to get stuff late, but it could have already been a done deal and all that kind of stuff. All right. And maybe Coach Miller was able to put some things in that he wanted to do. Who knows? I don't know. Expect to see a lot of the same stuff tonight, though. That's what I would expect. Now, maybe over time, over a few weeks, if they get a little bit of a break in their schedule where they can practice a little bit, then maybe you see something new. But you're going to see a lot of the same stuff. Hopefully, he's just able to keep these guys and hold them accountable to do the things that he wants them to do on the basketball court. Okay, but again, that's Coach Mike Miller in a nutshell. Maybe Viv or Mark or Guillermo, has a little bit more information about him. But listen, he is a system kind of a guy. And maybe we'll see a little bit more of a system as time goes on. So once again, before I get to the guys here in the video chat, all right, just real quick, a quick introduction to Mike Miller for those who are just joining us. Mike Miller is born August 14th, 1964. He's 55 years old from Monmouth, New Jersey. He led the Westchester Knicks to a 108-92 record over 4 years. From 2017 to 2018, he was the G League Coach of the Year. From 2015 to 2019, he was the head coach of the Westchester Knicks. From 2013 to 2015, he was an assistant coach with the Austin Spurs, which is the G League affiliate for the San Antonio Spurs. 2012 to 2013, he was the assistant coach at UC Riverside. 2005 to 2012 was the head coach at Eastern Illinois University. And 1996 to 1999, he was the head coach at Texas State, where they won 2 conference titles. And I believe they actually made it to, March Madness, but were eliminated. All right, so that's him in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. That is him in a nutshell. And let's see what these guys got to say. And I want to hear your opinions as well. All right. So, Viv, Coming to you, my man. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, Sam? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. All right, so give me your take on Coach Mike Miller.
So, Mike Miller was recommended by a guy named Frank Hamblin. If you remember Frank Hamblin, he was a longtime assistant for Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
He sent the recommendation, I believe, to Allen Houston, who was then, I think, what was the role? I think he was the GM of the Westchester Knicks. And then, that's how it happened. But, if we want to define Mike Miller's coaching tenure with the Westchester Knicks, the one thing is every single year he had a new roster. So every single year he dealt with, 15 new players or however many players there are in the Westchester Knicks, and a lot of turnover, a lot of hungry players, obviously, but remember it's a big roster turnover. And then you have the one or two players that are being called up every single every other game or whatever. So you see the one thing about the G League is that there's a lot of fluctuation with the roster, and he had to deal with it every single season. The other thing is that he also had to build a system that somewhat mirrored what they were running in the NBA club. So every single year he had to kind of adapt. So if there's one thing to know is that he kind of has a blend of pretty much everyone's offensive sets somehow, some way, in addition to whatever he is known to have run, before the Westchester Knicks, in college or whatever. So what you can tell, he's very adaptable. I mean, there's words that are probably better words. I just can't think of them right now. But he's very flexible, very adaptable with the systems. But over the years, he had to know, okay, what are the core sets and what are the core principles we're going to run. And I think from what I know, he was able to kind of instill that in his players pretty well. And that was kind of a hard thing to do in Westchester with the player movement, but he was kind of able to do that. He set up a pretty decent defensive team for whatever that's worth 2 years ago when he was, I think, the coach of the year there. But he's a familiar face in the organization, and he's someone that, because of the system, it's a very seamless transition for him. So, I think what we'll see is not necessarily new sets, but we will see what I call it's just going to be a disciplined version of what we're trying to run. We're going to see more discipline in how we're, playing out there on offense. So whether you evaluate that with the amount of contact, the number of times we make contact on screens, that might be a good indication of, the difference we see. If we have a better conversion rate on our out of timeout plays, I mean, that's probably, you might see that a little bit more. And you maybe just closeouts and just some of the little things. We won't see structural changes, but if you can evaluate that and notice what the difference is, then, I mean, that's what I'm really looking for. Yeah. Because you can't, there's no way you can add multiple sets and, just see it run. It's impossible. No coach can do that.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible for him to do that at this juncture. Now, maybe when you get, when you have the All-Star break or something like that, of course, that's months away. If they get a little bit of a break, and you might see little things here and there, but you're not going to see a lot. Besides, like you said, maybe the discipline and the way that they do things. And
I think that's the most important thing, because you kind of saw it slipping, and that's the reason a lot of our younger players have regressed somewhat. I think there's just not that constant discipline that you need. When you're running, when you're out there, there's almost like a lack of purpose sometimes. So just to see that instituted, it's going to be it's a big change. And obviously, my thoughts on the Fizdale thing. I mean, you kind of had it. You knocked it down to a T with the whole, the DAPs and all that stuff. That obviously Fizz got fired Thursday night. But
yeah.
This was, again, I don't want to go into it too much because I know you kind of harped on it. You kind of mentioned it and talked about it a lot yesterday, but this was coming for Fizz. I mean, I don't think he's going to be coaching anywhere after this. I don't think he's getting another NBA head coaching job.
You might be right. You definitely might be right there. You know,
And you know what it is, Sim? It's because you're a coach, you know this. There's a demeanor to coaching. There's a difference between a head coach and an assistant coach. And the difference is a very significant difference. Not every assistant coach, as you know, can be a head coach.
Right.
And only certain people have that personality and the command of the high level, vision in the picture to understand how to be a head coach. Some people are just better off as assistant coaches, or they're better at their job as an assistant coach.
Right.
And I think Fizdale might be that guy. I don't think I don't know if he's an associate head coach. I don't know if he's, he just might be, some guy going back to the film video. That might be his thing. But head coach, it requires a lot more. And, what we saw is, someone that I think the idea of coaching is like a head coach kind of just was above, it was like way over his head. And I know people are going to bring up Memphis, but it's very important to know about Memphis is that, actually when you look at Memphis, he actually did a lot worse in Memphis than the team was the year before. And the reason I say that is because the team that year before was injured and they lost. They had like a big losing streak, after that injury. So technically speaking, they kind of regressed a bit year to year. But I mean, it sucks that he's got fired, but I just don't see him as a head coach guy.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. But you never know how experience might shape people. But I kind of agree with you. I tend to agree with you. Let me see what Mark is thinking over here. All right, because I know Mark was saying yesterday, not yesterday. Oh yeah, maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Whenever it was, he was like, "I want this to just happen. Just get it over with. Happen. Let it happen, so that we can move on from it." Well, Mark, it happened, man.
Well, the reason why I said I want it to happen because I'm still not happy because the gray hair afro guy is still in position.
Well,
so yeah. I'm a little upset still. I don't really care for the new interim like that, but we'll see what he does. I just want to clean house of this toxic guy, Steve Mills. I just I know everybody's happy. Oh, he won games in G League. This is NBA, man. G League and NBA is two different things, man. I can't just be all happy like that, man. And this is New York City. Okay? This is going to be his first time coaching NBA players, not G League players. Okay? All I want to see tonight is how they respond to him. Mm-hmm. Because that's what it's all about. If they respond to him well, then I'll say, you know what? Let's see what he does. Like I said, let's see what he does. I'm just a little upset from yesterday because Steve Mills is not gone. That's why I said I wanted everything to just happen because I wanted Fitz fired with Steve Mills and Scott Perry because these dudes trying to save their job. After all that news coming out, they trying to save their jobs. So now they talking about looking for a guy who could create shots now. Where are they going to get that?
Well. I don't know. I don't know about Right now, we just gotta. They need to slow down and just focus on the task at hand right now. Right? That they just need to slow down.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing about Steve Mills. This is one thing that Nate, I think, really had right. And I don't think that they're gonna fire Steve Mills. I don't think they're gonna fire. That's James Dolan's boy. They're friends. I don't think he's going to fire him. If anything, he'll move him to another part of the organization. Right? So even if he does that and he has nothing to do with the Knicks, I'll take that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll take that.
Sim, as long as he's not the president. As long as he's not making basketball decisions. I don't want him near that. The two don't have any basketball IQ at all for talent whatsoever.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You said as long as the players respond to Coach Mike Miller, what is your definition of responding?
Yeah, they respond to him well, then I'll go along with it. I'll go along with him.
So what is your definition of responding to him? And I wouldn't expect
meaning that all the problems with Julius Randle that I have a beef with, and how other players look at him that don't get back, they're not going to work as hard. Now, if Julius Randle gained gets better
Changes.
with the season going on, then I'll say, okay, this
Okay.
coach really got into him to change his game.
Okay, and that's
in
what I was
certain
going
ways,
to
so it
ask
could
you.
complement the young players because his game don't complement the young players.
And that's
So
what
if
I
his
was going to
game-
ask you, because you can't expect it, obviously, tonight. You don't know what to expect tonight.
No, I'm not expecting it tonight. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But there's 20 extra games like how I do it. I judge everything in a 20 game span.
Oh,
in a
now
20
here
game
he
span.
go. Now here he go. Now he's Scott
Hold on,
Perry and
hold
Steve
on.
Mills. No, but he's not doing 10. He's just going to do 20. Go ahead, Mark. I'm just messing with you.
But what did I say from last year? The first 20 games will tell you where the season's going. So
Well, I mean,
I'm
that's
going to do it with the
kinda,
coach.
that's
If the
kinda,
coach,
it's been out
if
there
we
like
put
that.
him in position, right?
What'd you
Look,
say?
all I'm saying, if we put him in position, and the best player, Julius Randle, still looks the same, that tells me that there's no coaching going on.
Well, I mean, I expect to see the players respond a little bit differently to Mike Miller.
Yeah,
Does
new
it
coach,
lead
new coach,
to
you're
does
gonna
it
see
lead
players
to
respond.
wins?
They do all that stuff.
Listen, does it lead to wins? I don't know. And I would tend to say to
I
you,
don't
I
really
wouldn't
care
even
about
trust.
wins and losses.
Listen. I would tend to say to you, I wouldn't even trust the first 20 games, because the first 20 games is still going to be a honeymoon period. Right? When you start getting into that second plateau of 20 games, I think that's when it comes out. I still think the first 20 games of Mike Miller's tenure as interim head coach is still going to be a honeymoon period. You know what I'm
so
saying?
let me retract that. If Julius Randle game do not change in ways to complement the young players this season, forget the 20 games. This season, if his game do not change one iota for the young players, because the young players are way more important than him. And this is all the Knicks fans I've been seeing on channels and podcasts. We want the young guys to look good. Now, if Julius Randle is playing the same way as he playing and don't get benched, that will tell you a lot what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to Julius Randle. That's what I want to get out.
And that's something that's something we'll be watching too. That's something we'll definitely be watching for that. That's accountability.
Because people talk about when Julius have a bad game, y'all want to bench him. So if this coach cannot bench him, that tells you a lot what's going on.
That says a lot. That says
Julius
a lot.
Randle, because he got paid $63 million.
Okay, that says a lot, because we're talking about accountability, and we want everybody to be held accountable. And that's one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing from Mike Miller. Is he going to hold everybody accountable? Guillermo, what do you think? Man?
Do I think that Mike Miller is going to hold everybody accountable?
Well, just what do you think about Mike Miller? What are your expectations? For Mike Miller?
I like, I'm going with what Viv said, right? So I don't think we're going to see a lot of adjustments, right? But I think they might add a few wrinkles. There has to be a little bit more off-ball movement in regards to, it can't be 3-4 guys on the perimeter just standing there when there's 15 seconds left on the clock. I do like some of his track record in terms of development. Say what you want, Trey Burke, Luke Cornett. When they were down there in the G League, their games expanded. When they came up, obviously they didn't look as good in the G League, because in G League you're playing against, lower level talent, per se. But I like what he did development wise. The guy has a decent background. And I think that, like Viv said, he's going to adapt. That's one thing Fizdale did a very poor job of. He didn't adapt to the players that he had into the situation that was before him, right? So, you hear on the so-called media, they were saying things like, "Oh, Fizdale, he was happy he got fired and all that stuff." So if you're happy you got fired, right? That means that you were looking to go out on your sword, but he didn't go out on his sword. So all that stuff about is BS. Like, Fizdale's just a poor coach. He's an assistant coach. He's a video guy. He's a rah guy. He's a friend. That's because look at what's said in the media. And I'm not sorry to go on a rant. I just have to say this on the media, because me and Isaiah have been going back and forth in terms of what these clowns in the media said. Jay Williams, the burnout, the draft, the bust from Duke. This guy tried to say that what happened with Fizdale was black on black crime. And this is a guy who probably never touched a black girl in college, and now he's trying to take the woke route, right? And one thing I say about Dolan has hired a lot of black people. Execs, he ain't the one who blackballed Mark Jackson, and he might still hire Mark Jackson for all we know. So to sit here and say those things, look, what am I saying from this guy? Like I said, discipline, coming in, getting these players, to play with fundamentally sound basketball, to set proper picks outside of, Taj Gibson or who's my other guy who actually sets picks? Mitch at times. I'm looking for him to come in and set some discipline, man. And what I'm not expecting, ridiculous amount of wins. Obviously the media's going to come out and say a lot of garbage because, they're the media, do absolutely no homework. But, just one thing I want to say on Fizdale, man, the media's been covering his ass. And this is how you know he's not going to get hired, because they've been covering his butt in terms of, how could you fire? You guys didn't give him the proper roster. This roster, say what you want about it. It may be an ill-fitted roster, but this is still a same roster with a lot of potential in terms of some of the ceilings that these guys can get to. Fizdale never got that from these guys. He never taught these guys proper fundamentals. He never got these guys in a system that befits them. And now if Mike Miller does that, that would show a lot about Fizdale, and that'll make it very hard to hire him. Yeah, he could be a friend with you guys. It's like the same thing LeBron did with Carmelo. Oh, yes, my boy, blah, blah, blah. But when it's time to put him on your team, you ain't going to put him on your team. So, look, am I expecting to win tonight? No. Am I expecting us to drastically change? No. But I think that with this happening and with all the stuff that's happening, I think guys like Randall, who I think has a beeline to the GM in terms of, they gave him this contract and he thinks that he's kind of above certain things in terms of fundamentals, getting back on defense. I think it's going to be a wake-up call for him, especially with the rumors that, Masai Ujiri, I'm not going to get into that, but, all these rumors and things are moving around. So I think some guys are going to be in their P's and Q's to be like, hey, oh, crap, things aren't working out. They might not pick up my option for next year. And if this team, everyone's associating my name with the Knicks, I might not get something good next year, right, from another team. So, I like the direction. I like the decision. But I'm not expecting anything monumental. But, these guys in the media, man, Jay Williams, this idiot, this clown.
And listen, I think it's the dumbest thing. The dumbest thing for him to say this is black on black crime. Come on, man. It's just ridiculous.
Dude, this is the same. Say what you want about Dolan, bro. If you look at the fire coaches, right? And also, obviously, it's not a good list of, but he gave a lot of chances to a lot of coaches that other organizations weren't going to get. Come on, Don Chaney, and y'all going to sit here and talk about and try to add race into this? This is the same league that blackballed Craig Hodges when he went to the White House to ask for help from black people from George Bush. The same league that boycotted him. The same people that said, "Oh, Craig Hodges," they boycotted him, right? The same league that boycotted Mahmoud Abdul Rauf because he's a Muslim. And this is the same league that tells black players, "Hey, shut up about China," but they want to act all woke. When it comes to China, these guys, shut up, the money's involved. It's the same league that Mark Jackson, with a winning record, and it showed 3 years, I think he's there for 3 years. He had a winning record, or an improving record, to the point I think he had 55 wins his last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's 55 or something like that. He can't get a job in his league. But these idiots in the media want to pick on the Knicks because, one, they don't like Dolan. And two, they want to say, Steve Mills, blah, blah. That doesn't matter. There are a bunch of guys in this league that don't deserve jobs. And yet they've been able to get coaches, they've been able to get players. The organization believed in them and kind of hit their whatever mistakes, whatever, and they're doing better as a result. And y'all want to sit here and talk about black on black crime? Jay Williams, who I've never, you could go to Duke. Ask how many black girls he's been with or went out with. This guy's talking about woke. Come on, son, stop. Stop.
I'm not thinking about
Jay. There's real racial issues in America. There's real racial issues with people. When I hear these clowns sit here and take the stuff that, I know this dude would never go to the hood. He would never hang around so-called those type of black people. But if he wants to use that when he's on TV to build up his fame and build up his so-called his profile, I ain't trying to stick it for James Dolan. James Dolan's made a lot of mistakes, but hiring black people ain't one of them.
It's not exactly. Thank you, and that's what I want. That's what I want to say. I wanted to piggyback on because you said it earlier. That's one thing that you could never, ever, ever say about James Dolan. You can never say that. In my opinion, you can never say that about James Dolan. He's never been that type of guy. And one more thing, Sim, go back to Isaiah sent me the article when Fizdale was first hired. And Dolan basically came out and said, the only guy that they interviewed was Fizdale, and I took their word for it. Now, you talk about a league where guys are literally, it'll be 3, 4, 5 guys interviewed for a job, and he put his faith in a black president, a black team president, a black GM to hire this guy, to hire Fizdale, that everybody was so-called friends with. But he didn't sit there and try, let me hire this guy and this guy. He put faith in these guys. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on a rant. I feel you. I feel you on it. I feel you on it, man. I feel you on that because it's just uncalled for Jay Williams to bring up race to bring race into it. Just because it was 3 black men, he's got to bring race into it. And it's just ridiculous. Hold on, Mark. I'll get to you. Let me get to Let me get to the phone call. Caller, you on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
Blackest time. Shout out to the chat. What's good, Sam?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm been torn, honestly. What was the question you was giving to about Mike Miller? What?
Well, I was just asking about expectations, but I was going to ask you something different. All right.
Okay.
Mike Miller was brought in 2015, October of 2015, and he was brought in under the Phil Jackson regime so that he can help develop players for the triangle. My question to you is, do you think he brings, and I'm not saying bringing the entire triangle, do you think he brings pieces of the triangle as the season goes on? Do you think he brings pieces of the triangle into this team?
I do, and not just because of that, but just because the triangle, you see glimpses of it in almost every like more than 50% of the teams, you see the triangle ran at some point throughout the game. So it's not far-fetched to believe he'll implement, parts of it. Not, and I don't have a problem with it. Like I just want to see something that works. But as far as I just wanted to touch on, for everybody, don't get too excited or too down as far as judging his performance, Mike Miller as a coach. Because a lot of times when a coach is fired, the team will go on a win streak or
rally.
Show glimpses of playing better. And it may not be due to the new coach. Sometimes it's them actually feeling bad because their coach got fired. Sometimes the players now under pressure. A lot of these guys don't have guarantees for next year, so they don't know where that's gonna go. And it's not like it's their decision. So it's just now they just waiting to see what happens on that date, if the option gets picked up or not. So I mean, it's gonna be hard to judge Mike Miller as a coach right now, even with 20, 30 games. We're probably just gonna have to see how the season ends out.
How much consideration do you think they're going to give Mike Miller? I mean, obviously a lot is going to depend on the season, but how much consideration do you think they're going to give him?
Now, honestly, I think he's going to get a lot of consideration. I think it's more likely than not that he's coaching us next year.
Think so.
In a sense, he's the perfect coach to not have any pressure. Like, forget about just being in New York. He doesn't have the name, the history, the relationship where it's going to be pressure on him because of that.
Okay.
So
okay.
It should be relatively easy for him to ignore the pressures of New York, especially coming into this situation, the record we have now. No one's expecting anything at all this year, number one. So there's no media pressure on him immediately. So I mean, he's kind of in like a good spot. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to really worry about anything. Like, honestly, he can implement whatever he wants and do it slowly. And is like, was he gonna get fired? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he's good. So I think he's in a good position, especially for this year. I think if they are gonna bring in a new coach, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring him in to end the year, like, and again, to start implementing your stuff earlier than the off season.
And does he strike you as a guy that's in like the Jeff Van Gundy type of mode?
I think he's gonna be able to hold people accountable. There's no pressure on him to sit Randall if he needs to sit Randall, or sit anybody if he needs to sit
not
them,
sit Randall,
or play the young kids if he wants to do that. Like he actually, I think he has free range to do whatever he wants. So I think in that sense, yeah, he's gonna show more fire and more discipline towards the players. He can't sit there and be lax. You know what I mean? He has the opportunity to bring out. If he has a beast in him, he has the opportunity to bring it out.
And he has the opportunity here. Yeah, right. If I'm him, I'm pulling out all the stops because he has. Exactly. Let's put it like this. If I'm Mike Miller, I'm doing whatever I want to do because, and this is the reason why I say this, because I'm either going to get hired as the head coach, or if I'm not hired as the head coach, there's a very good chance I won't be there next year because the new coach is going to want to come in and bring in their staff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he won't be there, but there's a good chance that he might not be there. So if I'm him,
then like honestly, right now I think, and I hope I'm right. I hope I'm not just being optimistic in my own feelings, but I think the pressure's on Mills more than anything.
Yeah,
I think at this point, Dolan has to be looking at Mills. Like that's what caused the initial press conference in the first place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
right.
Dolan called him and said, "Yo, this is not what you told me was going to happen."
Yeah,
and then of course they got to put a scapegoat out there.
I feel you. Hey Tony, I appreciate the call, man. I'm gonna try to get a couple calls in before I go check out. Get the game, let the game get started, let everybody watch the game. All right.
No doubt. I'll be on later.
All right, peace.
Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black, it's time. All
right, ladies and gentlemen, you can give me a call, 516-405-2246. Got just a couple minutes before the game starts where you can, we're going to go watch the game. Well, I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to get off, and then I'll be back on for the post game. I do want to remind everybody this. First of all, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel. And also, hit me with that thumbs up button. All right, hit me with a like button. Hit me with a thumbs up button. Or, hit that thumbs up button. But if you're not a member, and I do want to shout out, I just seen somebody signed up to become a member. Lonell, Florida. Thank you for becoming a member. You became a 90s Knicks member, a member of the 90s Knicks. Okay? So if you're not a member, you have a chance to be a member. And it's 3 tiers. There's a $1.99 per month tier, $2.99 per month, $4.99 per month. And you'll have access to custom emoji. Right now, there's 3 of them, but there's going to be more. You'll get all kinds of perks, from exclusive events to live streams, particularly for members and all that kind of stuff. All right, so make sure you join. Now, if you can't join, it's all good. Nothing's going to change here. You're still going to get the same shows and the same everything that you've been getting and more. All right. So it's just an opportunity for you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I do want to get to the guys in the video chat. I want to find out from you real quick. Do you think you're going to see some of the triangle from Mike Miller? All right. And then I'll find out what you think about tonight, and then we'll get up out of here so everybody can watch the game. Viv, I'll start with you.
Do I expect to see triangle? Are you saying tonight or just no?
Not tonight. Not tonight. As we move forward,
you'll see some sets, but I don't know. Like, no, not full triangle. No, you might see some actions, but then again, those are common actions that every team runs. So nothing new. And as for the game, I know Brogdon is out, but It's gonna be tough. I think we keep it close this game. I think we probably lose the game. But he's out though, Brogdon.
Brogdon is out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing for the Knicks. That's a good thing
Right.
for the Knicks. Yeah, I'm gonna keep you live. I'm gonna keep you live. Guillermo, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think we're gonna lose, but no, Brogdon being out helps. I do agree with Viv. Many teams run concepts that are related to the triangle. So, but I think it'd be a little bit too much for some of these. It might be a little bit too much for some of these players, but then again, I mean, we've been operating from ground zero in terms of what our offensive sets are anyway. I think defensively, though, I'm interested to see what his sets are, his rotations are, who he has out there on the court. If he get proper chemistry from guys. And one thing I want to say, they said that Jay Williams was so-called joking around. And if he was, I take part of what I said. I still think he's a draft bust and a bum. But if he was joking around, so be it. Then I guess he's joking around. But
you know what though? It's really not something to joke about though.
That's also
Even
true.
If he's joking around. It's not something to joke about. You don't joke about it. You know what
and
I'm
you'll do
saying?
it on national TV. You can do that.
Exactly. You don't do that, especially when there's real serious issues going on in the world. You know what I mean? That has to deal with minorities and people of color and race. You know what I mean? There's real issues going on. Why joke about it? Mark, your last one, bro.
Yo.
Your last one, bro.
All right. We're not going to win tonight because I seen the Pacers last night. They're just too good at what they do. Number two, listen. I just want to see effort. Effort that wasn't there from certain players. I want to see tonight. Just effort. You don't have to do nothing. Just effort. And you know what, too, Sam? I got a big gripe about something, too.
All right.
Even if he has sets and all that stuff, right? Could these players execute what he wants to do? That's the question people got to ask themselves. Are these players capable of executing what he wants to do in future references and times?
Well, I mean, we don't know because one thing about having a player execute.
No, I'm just saying. I'm throwing that question out there.
I know.
I'm throwing that question out there. It's not for now. I'm just saying it. Yeah.
Right. But what I'm gonna say,
That's what I want to see.
What I'm gonna say to that is, and where I felt like Fizz failed, and I'm hoping that Mike Miller can do, is one of the things to getting players to execute what you want them to do is giving them things that they can do, right? Giving them duties and roles where they can excel. Now, if you want them to expand their game, you add things in slowly where you want them to expand. But if you give them things where they can be successful, let them be successful doing those. And then if you want them to expand, you add things in slowly. So we'll see. But anyway, Mark, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back on at 10:30 after the game. All right. So I'll be looking forward to talking to everybody later on. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the game. I'll be back on after the game. If I didn't get to your phone call, I'll get to your phone call after the game. All right, so make sure you call back. Okay, we're gonna see what Mike Miller does tonight. 10:30. I'll be back on live, ladies and gentlemen. All right, make sure you join. Make sure you come back at 10:30. I'm out.
That's the deal.